Roll the camera. Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we are featuring an interview with a very peculiar-looking gentleman.
Kia ora. Welcome to Ohinewai News. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Desiree. In today's stories, a new crime wave is sweeping the country in the form of woolen graffiti.
Scientists have invented an invisibility cloak. We helped them find it.
And the latest in weather around the country.
But first, a story that will turn your world upside down. If you think the world is getting more upside down and topsy-turvy, it turns out you're right. Builders in Germany have built an upside-down house, and before you think they may have read the plans upside down, they did it on purpose. The wacky abode was built as a tourist attraction, as well as being a comment on the state of the world. The house is 23 feet tall and rests on the points of its roof, and has steel beams in the attic. Inside the house there are beds screwed into the ceiling, upside-down wardrobes, upside-down kitchen, and even upturned bathroom, though it's not known if anyone has tried to have a bath in it, or go to the toilet. Normally a house like this would take 3 weeks to build. This one took over 4 months, because workers kept getting confused by the strange angles of the walls. Many tourists visiting the house complained of feeling sick and dizzy after just a few minutes inside. We cross over to our reporter, Missy LaHaye, who is in the house of the homeowner. How are you feeling, Missy?
I'm here with the owners of the house, Master and Mr. LaHaye. And I'm feeling rather awkward. So, Mr. LaHaye, what made you decide to build this rather upside-down house?
Well, you see, I see everything upside down, so to me, I see it completely normal.
I see. And what comment do you feel the house makes about the state of the world?
In about 10 years' time, every house will be flipped upside down anyway, and mine already is, so mine will be pretty much famous.
What are some of the challenges of living in a house where the bedrooms, bathroom and kitchen are kind of on the ceiling?
Most people would think the most difficult thing to use in an upside-down house is the bed, but I have developed a solution. I have installed a harness in every bed in the house, so we no longer fall out of our beds.
Very creative. And does the plumbing affect the state of your house?
Yes, terribly. First off, there's never any water in the toilet bowl because it leaks all over the ceiling. Then, there's the bath. It's always splashing on the floor, so we have to have a bath outside in the ground in a hole filled with water from our garden hose.
Oh, alright. Thank you, Mr. and Master LaHaye. That's all from me. Now back to Desiree in the studio. Good night, Ohinewai School.
Thanks, Missy. Even watching that makes me feel upside down. And now for a story that is truly out of sight. Look out, Harry Potter. The world of science is catching up to the world of magic. Scientists in Europe have created a 3D invisibility cloak which can hide objects by bending light waves. It has been found that light can be controlled using special tiny crystals that makes objects disappear. So far, scientists have made small objects such as coins disappear, but let's hope that it won't be long before they are hiding cars, planes and even people. People have always dreamed of making themselves invisible. One top scientist says the possibilities are endless and we are very excited. However, since inventing the invisibility cloak, the scientists have been having trouble finding it. As soon as we put it down somewhere, it just disappears, the inventor of the cloak said. It appears they are having trouble finding other things too, like their lunch, which they think may be underneath the cloak. What will this invention actually be used for? Hoping to see through the reasons behind the invisibility cloak, here is our on-the-spot reporter, Georgia, with more on the story.
Hi, I'm Tess McLeod, and with me is Professor Zink and Professor William, two of the scientists behind the invisibility cloak. Hi, Professor William and Professor Zink, and thanks for joining us today. What made you want to invent the invisibility cloak?
destroyed Mustang. Mr. Gibson can't see me.
Can you show me how the invisibility cloak works?
Now you see me, now you don't.
Cool. What do you hope the invisibility cloak will be used for?
Hopefully, to make us famous.
Okay. What does your mum think of the invisibility cloak?
Well, she is very proud of us. Because we made it all by ourselves. We love you, Mommy.
Okay. Well, that makes things very clear. And thanks for joining us today. We'll run out of time, so back to Andrew in the studio.
Thanks, Roger. And now, how's this for an interesting yarn? A new wave of graffiti crime is covering the country thanks to an underground gang known as the Midnight Knitters. These wall-waving criminals are covering tree branches and a lamppost with small knitted jerseys and scarves under the cover of darkness. Police say the knitted activities of the gang are illegal because their woolly crimes are being done on public property without permission. The popularity of woolen graffiti is growing, and more public objects are getting wrapped up warm and cosy every night. But the problem is growing, police say, and warn that if the Midnight Knitters aren't caught soon, every tree, lamppost and traffic light in this country will be warmly dressed against the cold. The problem is spinning out of control. They're a close-knit group of dyed-in-the-wool criminals. We are stitching together a case, but it's not seamless. There is no real pattern to the crimes, a police spokesman said today. So far, the criminal knitters have escaped arrest and continue to pull the wool over the eyes of both the public and the police. We go now to a secret location with our investigative reporter Gunny Lee, who has an exclusive interview with one of the Midnight Knitters gang.
I'm Gunny Lee, and joining me in this top secret location are members of the Midnight Knitters gang. Hello Kiki and Ehi, and thanks for joining us. What led you into the dark underworld of knitted graffiti?
My grandma inspired me lots. She loves knitting.
Do you see yourself as a criminal?
Yes.
Why would that be?
I am a human porcupine that carries needles everywhere.
Apart from trees, lampposts and traffic lights, what else would you like to graffiti with your woolens?
I shall stalk into my teacher's room and knit them all together. Ha 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 ha!
How long have you lovely ladies been knitting for?
9 years.
Lovey.
Thanks for your time, Ehi and Kiki from the Midnight Knitters gang. We now go over to Lacey and Keela with the weather update.
Thank you, Gamali, and good evening, New Zealand. Let's have a look at tomorrow's weather. Starting in the far north, in Kaitaia, look out for some pretty flash flooding and raindrops as big as your head. If you're going outside, wear a hat. Moving down to Auckland, there will be a mix of fair conditions and unfair conditions, but those are the conditions and you'll just have to accept them. There will be no weather at all for Bay of Plenty. It's taking a short holiday, but it is expected to be back for the weekend. In Napier and Hastings, the weather will be sometimes changeable and sometimes not. We have really no idea what will happen there. In the Taranaki, a mild depression brings with it a very dull day, with no highlights at all. It will be overcast and gloomy all morning, but things should cheer up by the evening, so don't worry, everything will be fine. Wellington will have another capital day. There will be no wind at all, and the day conditions will be so pleasant they'll actually be classed as extreme. In the top of the South Island, Kaikoura can expect to have a good day, meeting friends for lunch, going for a swim, and reading the newspapers. But try to stay indoors as the weather will be just terrible. A real mix for Christchurch, which will have some unreasonable rainfall, some sensible wind, moderate thunderstorms, and some of very angry snow. And in the lower south, Dunedin will be frosty, cold, and unfriendly until late morning, when the sun will pop over for a visit. Everybody likes the sun. That's all from us. Remember, If it's raining outside, that's the weather for you. Good night, New Zealand. Now it's back to the desk with Andrew and Desiree.
Thanks, Lacey.
Well, that's all we have time for. We hope you enjoyed this evening's broadcast.
Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you again next time.
Goodbye.
Eno.
Roll the camera. Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we are featuring an interview with a very peculiar-looking gentleman.
Scene 1, take 1. Scene 1, take 2.